I wanted to tell you a story about my painting here in the back. It's, uh, it's a painting that was inspired by Picasso, the Blue Period, and it's a part of a series of paintings that I did during the confinement era. This era that we have lived in New York and all over the world actually is a period that was extremely dramatic. And for me as an artist, being in my studio in Long Island City during this entire period, I was hearing, these ambulance sirens constantly, actually, for, in the months of March and April. It was like an incredible situation. I'm not too far away from the epicenter of that crisis here in New York. And as an artist, I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to create? And I had this idea, because I have a few of these wood panels here, which are carved in the wood. They're like three-dimensional, as you can see, they're separated. And I started to paint, paintings that were in that style, which essentially is, I segregated the colors in a way that, everything here looks like a grid. And that grid was this idea of confinement that we all lived. And I think, the dramatic effect of, these moments where we were basically, we stopped any social interaction, and, the people, the government, the authorities tell us, you have to stay in. You can't go out. And if you go out, it's just to go get some food, and then you go back and you stay in your place, because the propagation of that virus was so violent that the authorities feared that everybody's going to get contaminated pretty quickly. Anyhow, so for me, I was like, I was thinking about, what is the type of work that I'm going to be doing that will express what we are living. And I think that, what was very important for me is to try to connect, my emotion and my experience as an artist to these extraordinary moments. And that's why I created, these colors, which are basically on the grid, and they're independent from each other, and they should represent, like the individual, the many individuals here that are segregated from everything that they knew from before. They are like in their cluster. And it could be, then it could be the family. So you have a family of cars, but they're independent, they're disconnected. That disruption that we live, from the single individual to the families, to the building in which you live, to the neighborhood in which you live. Everything was like disrupted, till the cities and the states and the nations and the continents. We felt that this disruption was basically altering all what we know as the social exchanges between human beings. And here it's pretty clear, that when you see this painting, it's really segregated, it's an incredible thing. So I created a series of paintings around that period that were tracing that. In that particular painting here, you're seeing it's an homage to Picasso of the Blue Period, but it also, that idea here was like, for us artists, when we live periods like that, and throughout history, when you go back to these museums where you visit them and you see this painting retraced a particular moment in time, like the plague, like a war, like something that was very dramatic, and people look at it like a few hundred years back, and they relate to a moment that was pretty intense. What comes to my mind is this painting of Picasso that he traced during the Spanish Civil War, and it was called Guernica. And everybody knows, a lot of people at least know about this painting, and it's an historical moment that Picasso was able to describe in his own extremely talented way. For me, at my level, with with my expression, my geometric world, this is what I was able to do, and I think it's really expressing this moment in a way that, of course, it's very personal. But I think everybody can look into this painting after I express what I said and can recognize the experience that they lived through. So it was important for me to really share my thought here. We are not out of the woods yet, far from it. Now they're talking about vaccine and everything. And I don't know, what's going to happen tomorrow. But I wanted to leave at least a visual trace of what I was doing. And, maybe in 100 years from now, 50 years from now, people will look at this video and they say, oh, wow, this artist, has captured something that was so critical, when you look back in time and people would think and historians will talk about, these moments, from the medical field to the political field to the science field. They will also probably look at, what artists did at that time. And I hope that one of these paintings will be one of the things, art critics and historians and basically anyone that has a sensibility to art, they could look at and live with me, what I was trying to express.